Alright, let me hide the invisible characters by pressing Shift Control or Shift Command 8. Okay. Doesn't matter which page I selected because I want to apply to the whole pages. If I go to page borders, we have the options button here. If I click on that, we have margin and options. Margin, as I mentioned before, like the border, we could define the margin space. But note that in the measure from, we have two types. Measure from edge of pages, which calculated from the edge of pages. Let's say, for instance, in the right and left have extra value, maybe 31 point, which it is the maximum number. And for top and bottom, I will set 12 point. And here have always display in front. Okay, and okay. Now define the spacing from the borders. Left and right, and bottom and top has less spacing. If I create a shape as an example, note that this is below the border. How can I make the border below this shape? Home, deselect the shape, borders and shading, page border, options, and disable always display in front. Okay and okay. There it is. Now it is not always showing in front. And we could calculate the spacing based on header and footer and based on your text instead of your page edges. I'm going to page border again. Borders and shading, page border, and options. Now this time, instead of using measure from edge of the page, I'm using text. Okay. Doesn't matter the values. We have 3 more features. Align paragraph borders and table edges with page border. Yes, I want to show you. And okay. You see, now they have the exact value which we did set based on your text. Allow me to zoom in here. All right. Now, if I start changing the margin to move the text, you see what's happening? My page border also will shift it. And note that if I select my text and increase the indentation, that's not going to apply because indentation and tabs does not count as the margin spacing between text. Let me remove that. You have to set the margin of your page between your page edges and your text, which I could use something like that. Okay. And if I add header and footer, let me add something as an example, shape, and close it. You see what's happening? Because I added header, my page borders tries to move and wrap around that maximum as it can. Of course, it's reached to the very top and it is not going out of the paper. But if I bring it down, alright. Sometimes you might have the page border below the header and footer, not cover the whole page. In this case, I could go page borders again. Options. Make sure your measure from is enable text and disable surround header and surround footer. Now if I press OK and OK, you see it's going down. Although still it is conflict with my header because my header value it is set there. If I go to header and footer edit mode and now start shifting that, you see what's happening? It will move based on my header region area. Also, it's gonna work for footer. Or even if I start creating footer here, let's say for instance I want to add page number, bottom of page, and here. it is not gonna work. Okay, but if I start moving that, now I could avoid from confliction. And one thing important here, if you add in your page something like a watermark, let me start moving. You see my watermark is moving because of my margin of page, and now here my watermark is top of the page border. Let me make it more visible. Okay, maybe something very obvious. Okay, I want to make it smaller to be visible. Okay, you see that? How can I bring the page border in front? As you remember, in the options, we had item name display in front. Enable that. Okay, and okay. Now it is in front of everything. Doesn't matter. Text, background, shape, or any other elements such as tables, charts, etc. Alright, let me change the wrapping in front of text. You see, my page border is always in front of everything. In the Microsoft Word, we don't have access for z-index, for changing the order. For example, you cannot say the chart be in front of border, but the watermark be in the background. So it is binary, in front of everything or only behind text.